Hi, I'm James Gorey. This is the Banana Republican. In this session, I want to talk about what does AI really mean for humanity, for us. I just saw a little piece on one of the news channels talked about alter ego, and alter egos. I believe it's out of MIT. It doesn't really matter. It's a mind reading AI device or technology. It's a little clunky in terms of having some kind of earpiece and so forth, and it's very obvious, but it's just the latest iteration of what AI is, how rapidly it's evolving, it's being created and developing, and it's just the latest that I'm aware of many more developments that are quite disturbing if you have any kind of sense of destination of where are we heading with this. That's the question. What does it mean for humanity? Whether it's Neuralink with Elon Musk, um, alter ego, some of these other pieces, it's all about genetic manipulation and changing what it means to be human. And I was watching another quick video off of Instagram. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was saying, look, we have two choices very soon here: becoming part of the machine or not being part of the machine. And those are the choices. And I think it was Elon Musk himself who said, look, you have to, in order to survive AI, we've got to become AI. And that, to me, that's not an option. Um, I don't feel the need or the desire or the interest into altering my who I am and the way I function. And so, but when I ask the question, what does AI really mean for humanity? That's what I'm talking about. What does it mean for us as a species? And I even hate that term. What does it mean for us as human beings? Um, Very, very, very risky, I think, in the very near future. In fact, what I'm really understanding, and maybe you are too, is that we're kind of getting AI developments kind of after the fact. There's a delay, right? These things come about, and then maybe a year, several months, a year later, now we hear about them. Meanwhile, they're that much further ahead. They meaning whoever's developing them. And let's talk about the they for a second, with regard to AI and with regard to just humanity. There's no question, and it's not a conspiracy. There's no question about it that there's a group of people who would deign to anoint themselves and nominate themselves and designate themselves as the leaders of the world. And by that I mean not just elected or unelected kings and potentates and presidents, but um, well, the World Economic Forum is a good example. Bunch of people that 5 years ago I'd never heard of, maybe even 3 years ago I'd never heard of, but now Yuval Harari is one of the leading directors of the World Economic Forum. He's a historian out of Israel, um, and now he's telling people that we need to adapt to AI, and AI will create a new religion, and the ones that we have now are mythical, are fictions, are fables, and are certainly unfit for the new species of mankind that is coming about or will come about soon. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of it. And Bill Gates is another one. He was interviewed, I think, with Jimmy Fallon or maybe Jimmy Kimmel, one of the Jimmys, somewhere. Or it could have been another talk show. But they posed the question, well, what does AI mean for humanity? How many what does it mean for people? Will we still need people? And Gates says, well, we won't need that many. We'll need less. And again, who's the collective we? It's not you and I. I need every human being I have in my life. Um, I don't like to be referred to, I think, is what Yuval Harari referred to people as useless feeders, which is just as dehumanizing as it's meant to be. It's sort of as dehumanizing as you can get. A useless feeder, one who just takes and doesn't give to society. So there's a tremendous kind of underlying meaning and underlying risk here to humanity. What is it? What does AI mean for humanity? I think it means less humanity. It certainly means they changed humanity in terms of biological, just what makes us. I mean, once you're either genetically manipulating human beings or adding AI technology, Neuralink or alter ego, whatever it is, into our systems, we're no longer the human beings that God made us to be and God created us. So that's a huge problem in my concern, in my consideration rather. And I think it's going to happen quicker than many people believe. And again, that's not me speaking. I'm just quoting the Sam Altmans and the Elon Musks of the world, those kinds of guys. And they're at the forefront of AI, and they know what's coming. And you may or may not have read about these AI guys building bunkers and hideaways and having all kinds of preparations to avoid the coming onslaught of AI and all that that entails and all that implies. And I don't think we all know what that implies, but it doesn't look good for just regular human beings. We may or may not be the favored species before too long, the favored version of humanity for too much longer. And that's something that needs to be discussed on a much broader level than it is, and on a legal level. In other words, even today, even at this very moment, today I'll use AI to do some research. I've already used it to do some research. I'll use AI to rewrite take an outline and create a paragraph out of it, or a couple of paragraphs out of it. So I'll create the foundational pillars and the talking points, and it'll create something for me. Okay, and then I'll fix it after. I'll humanize it after that because I want my style to be my style. But the bottom line is that AI is replacing Google. Which is fine. I'm okay with Google, but it's AI is manipulable, and by that I mean it's programmable to tell you not the truth, but what the people who own it and create it want you to think, want you to know, not what reality is. And so what I see happening is a shallowing, a narrowing of reality, and in a very horrible way, a narrowing of humanity too, by the way. So, for example, Hollywood is all up in arms about, well, you can't have AI movies being made, it puts actors out of work. But if you can't tell the difference, who cares? Who cares? That's their viewpoint. Well, we can make all these movies and make tons of money out of it, and nobody knows the difference. So obviously the danger there is political. How do you know a politician, a president, anyone is saying what they're really saying? How do you know they are where they really are? If you can see a video, if you can see shots of them speaking, walking, talking somewhere that they've never been, that they never said, saying things they never said. So it's 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 going to diminish human beings. People say, "Oh, it's going to expand our lives." No, it's not. It's going to narrow our lives tremendously, narrow our thinking, narrow our understanding, narrow our options in terms of behavior, because it'll anticipate behavior from a law enforcement standpoint, from a driving standpoint, whatever it might be. AI in your car will limit where you can go and how you can get there and how long you can stay there and what you can buy at the store and what your carbon footprint is and how many kids you might have and maybe how you treat your kids even, right? So all these things are happening all at once. And Alexa's in every room, and my phone is timing this right now. My phone is listening to me whether I want it to or not. So there's this is all specifically AI, but at some point AI will access them if it hasn't already. So at the point, AI will have an access over everything in our lives, and it will really start to narrow us down. Why? Because we don't need that many useless feeders, and you and I are useless feeders, by the way, to the people who think they're in control, and maybe they are in control, at least for a little while. But I think we have to ask ourselves um, to what is what's the objective? AI is being developed to what end? And I've already told you my thinking on that is I think AI is being developed to end reality, to end humanity as we know it. And that's scary, just kind of a reality. Apparently, if you got certain types of medical procedures over the past 5 years, some of that mRNA substances are programmed, or however you want, whatever verb there is, to create and change your genetic disposition at some point. I'm not a scientist, I do read some scientific journals here and there, but I'm not a scientist. But that has been established that is actually changing people's internal mechanism in terms of what they're telling their RNA is telling their body to produce. So there's already manipulation. Without our knowledge, by the way, nobody told us that in advance, as far as I know. And in fact, it was vehemently denied and ridiculed and punished people if they didn't kind of get in line, if you know what I mean. So there's a lot of things to ask. What's the objective with all of these rapid technological developments? AI being kind of the overarching technological breakthrough that will allows machines, autonomous thinking and acting machines, to look into everything we do and decide and limit our options. That's what's happening, and it may even limit our option to be human. What if it's illegal to be a human being? Just think about this: you have to have a driver's license to drive. You have to have insurance to get a car, to drive a car. You have to have these, pass the test, the physical, right? You have to pass a mental. What if existing in a society requires similar evaluations, whether or not you're in the AI, a member of society as an AI altered human being? Just a question. You know, 120 years ago, there were no. I don't think there was a DMV 120 years ago. Maybe, but probably not. 1905, 1906, maybe, probably not. So I think we're in the horseless carriage version of period of AI right now, and then there's going to be some heavy regulation. That's going to include the internet, obviously. So this messages like this, podcasts like this, will be disappeared most likely. Anyhow, that's my take on it. What's yours? Feel free to leave me a comment, good or bad. Thank you for leaving some of the comments. Some are stridently unhappy with me. That's fine. But go ahead and leave a comment if you would. Share and subscribe. And this is James Gorey. I'll see you next time. Thank you.